This is Andrian.
And this is Ray. Welcome to the Talk Live podcast.
Every 2 weeks, we'll invite a new guest and
In every session, we'll dig into their life, relationships, and perspectives.
one question at a time.
Let's talk live!
Yay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the second episode with Eugene Chan. And this time we'll talk about his passion and how he discovered basically video making and like how he actually find this to be a sustainable job. So let's dive into actually how did you start like UCAN production? Even though last time we talked about how you started, but how you find filmmaking as a hobby, or like is it just like some stumble up on like filmmaking, or were your parents like a filmmaker, or even do they like photographing? We want to understand how do you start, because I think a lot of people, especially like for me, I like doing a lot of things, but I never really turned it into like a career. Even though I think a lot of people wanted to, but they never have the drive to do it. So we just want to understand more.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a nice and chill session. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but cheers. We actually have port wine, so it's gonna be a more relaxed session. We have some alcohol because I think this topic, it's not gonna be as interesting because it's entrepreneurship, right? But I think it's gonna be very relevant for anyone out there that is going through that whole soul searching process, understanding who they really are, what they should stand for.
For sure.
The why, right, behind their life. So that's why we have some alcohol to have that. So yeah, Eugene, the stage is yours. Thanks so much for sharing once again.
Of course. So in terms of filmmaking, it actually began as photography. When I was in high school, when I was actually around 12, my parents had this camera. I just really liked taking photos. They were absolute shit, but I was taking photos
Wait,
anyways.
your parents or you?
Oh no, my parents are great. The photos are shit. So the photos didn't turn out so good, but I really enjoyed having a camera and just capturing moments. They weren't good, but I kept taking photos at 12, and then I experimented with like portrait photography and like product photography. And then in year 10, I did theater.
Year 10 would be 16, right?
15, 16.
15,
yeah.
16.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So drama and acting. So I took a class on theater, IGCSE.
Yeah, did you know that Ray wanted to be an actor?
Yeah,
I was
like-
like listening to the other podcast.
Oh, really?
He
I
wanted
said
to be
that?
a singer
I said
or
singer.
an
I
artist.
I said
A
wanted to
reporter.
be a TV host.
Yeah, TV host.
And also a singer.
Yeah.
But that didn't turn out well. So I think podcast is something that, a side hustle, a side project.
We have a guitar here. We can
Wow.
do some songs in there, right?
Probably my
Can you
next
play
life.
guitar, Ray?
Yeah, next life, yeah, maybe.
You can play guitar?
No, I can, yeah, basic stuff, yeah. But I can't do bar chord, yeah. Fat fingers or something like that.
So have you actually played for Betsy before? Oh my god.
Yeah, I think not. I haven't played to Betsy before, but I have played to previous girls before.
Whoa,
So
okay.
Betsy hearing this, yeah, I'll play a song to you one day. Yeah, but
At the
it's
wedding.
pretty rusty, yeah. But going back to Eugene.
Yeah, going back to Eugene.
No, so I did photography first, and then theater and acting.
Okay.
And those two sort of became filmmaking for me. So you get photos which are static, no movement, and then theater was just full of life and storytelling. And for me, those two became filmmaking and making short films. And that's how it all began, how I found my passion in visual storytelling and creating beautiful imagery.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So for theater and acting, you learned it in your school, right? It was
My
a
high
course?
school, yeah. It was a course.
Wow, it's very interesting that your school have this kind of. Is that part of IB or
It's
extra?
IGCSE. It's before IB, in the one before IB.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you take IB theater?
My school didn't offer it,
Okay.
but
So
I
you did.
really wanted to. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So I think for those listening out there, I think sometimes you never know where your interests would come, and school or taking the courses or extracurricular activities would actually help, right? So that's one of the way that it came. Of course, there was photography from your family, but I think where it made sense was, I think, through theater and acting, right?
Yeah.
But were
That's
you
sort of- yeah.
when you were a kid, were you always wanted to be in acting, or were you just like saying yes and open to like opportunities? So you took on theater. Is it something that you really like before, or you just something you randomly like
No,
came across?
I just thought it was more fun and interesting than the other courses that they offered. And as a kid, I never had if we're talking like less than 10 years old, I never had a thing that I
dream,
really,
right? Or ambition, right?
I was just a happy kid, and I think my mom said when I was 5 I wanted to be a chef, just because I was really fat. I was just like,
you were?
I was quite chubby, so I was just
I
like,
remember.
if I was a chef, I can be constantly eating. So I'm like, that's not a bad job, you know? Yeah.
I think the point that we want to bring out in this section or session is, did the passion reach out to you, or were you proactively finding? Yeah. So was it opportunity based, or there was a deep calling inside you that, you know, filmmaking, content creating was something that you wanted to pursue on?
Yeah.
It sounded like not really, because when you were young, you didn't really have like a clear route or ambition. It's sort of through the different experiences that you've embarked in your life, and then you slowly pick up and love, and then it slowly became, there was some burning desire within you to really improve, and then
I think for sure it's giving yourself the opportunity to be exposed to different activities, different opportunities, and like hobbies that can potentially become a career. I think it's not limiting yourself to, you know, standard practices or like things that you would normally typically do. It's being open about what you can do and saying yes to a lot of things.
Yeah, I think I can totally relate to that, because I think till today, I'm not sure about you, Andrian, but at least for myself, I haven't really found something that I truly enjoy, that I was like, oh, you know what? This is the direction that I want to live my life. I haven't reached that stage, but I really buy that idea that, you know, you got to be open-minded, got to be opportunistic. Yeah. So that, you know, whatever new experiences. So I think today my mindset is like, when there's an opportunity that came up, I won't say no immediately unless it's really against the values or something that, you know, I can't see myself doing. And that's why, you know, when Andrian asked me to, you know, start this podcast, etc., I jumped on and said, yeah, why not? Because it aligns with my values. I like talking to people. I like to help people. I like to meet new people, invite guests.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it pretty much aligned. Yeah, even though it doesn't make money, whether it's my passion, I'm not sure yet, but I know that I enjoy doing it and I like helping people.
Yeah, I think for me too. I think we always talk about how we started this podcast is because I think this podcast is, I think, a starting point. I don't think it is an ending point, because I think going back to Eugene is that he started off like in theater. He never thought, I don't think he ever thought when he was 15 or 16 he's going to start a production house.
No.
Yeah. But then is how it leads to this stage is the whole process. Is how you get started. Like, for example, me and Ray, we started this podcast. Hey, what if we actually like got better and then we actually film well on YouTube, and then maybe we can actually start off our own YouTube channel, or actually venture into like being on other things as well, which I think if you say yes, I think it's a yes mentality. It's basically that you can
mindset.
That's
the you can mindset, guys.
You know it.
Yeah. So you just say yes to a lot of opportunities, or you just don't say no. You just explore it. If it doesn't go as well, it's trial and error. We talk about that like even though in the last episode, but I think is a key area for us, for everyone to do it. Unless it's like someone is asking you, oh, let's rob a bank.
Yeah, it has to align with
your values.
With your values and what you stand for.
Yeah.
And if you think it matches and you think you're going to have a good time, enjoy yourself, and value add and create an impact, right, to people, I think that's important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also aligned to your values, right?
Yeah.
So if that's all aligned, then go for it.
Yeah, go for it. So I think going for it is a big topic, so we can probably talk about that in a bit. But I just want to understand how Eugene because we talk about 15 or 16. So how did you go from like wanting to be in theater, actually doing theater, and then what's the year afterwards? Like, how did it become like, even though you like photography, you like taking photographs, how do you go into like a passion, or do you just like really deep dive into like taking a lot of photos for your families and what?
So after the course ended, so for theater, you obviously need an
assignment, right?
Yeah.
An assignment, but you also need an audience, and you need a big stage and team. And I just thought I really enjoyed telling the story on stage, whether as a director or an actor. And I thought, okay, if I don't have an audience, I have the internet, you know.
Wow.
So, and I do photography. Filmmaking can't be that different. It is, but so I'm just like,
Who
okay.
knew back then, right?
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, I can make my own stage online.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, I'll just
Started YouTube, right? I remember,
started YouTube, and then I just made short films because I didn't have a stage, I didn't have an audience. So I'm just like, just make it online. It's so convenient, and that's how we started making short films and content from there.
And then it kind of grew, right? The interest, the passion when you actually like, because I know that you're a hands-on person, right?
Yeah.
When you like something, you want to be hands-on. And through that process, that's when you also got really good at, the different angles.
Yeah.
And I think there were different production houses. Like I'm not sure whether Wong Fu was a big part when you were growing up. Like,
Oh, yeah,
those
they were big. Yeah, Wong
those
Fu.
kind of storytelling, I think that was very your style, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
So
I think they were a big inspiration to me, seeing how, especially because they're Asian as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if they can make short films on YouTube that are like this quality, I can do that too. Why not?
yeah.
Yeah, I think Wong Fu was a big part of, at least it was part of my life when I was like growing up. I watched Wong Fu, even though I think they are now a lot more subtle. They don't post that much these days, but I think they are.
Yeah, I think they kind of stopped innovating at some point. I wouldn't say innovating, but they kind of stopped putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
They might have some pivot that they sort of changed the direction. Yeah. We don't know the reasons, but
I think they probably reach a bottleneck, so they are slowing down right now. But I think we're getting a lot of more inspiration from our like growing up. So how was you growing up basically? Like when, even though I know you said, oh, you were in theater, were your family like just okay with you just do theater, or were they encouraging you? How's your mindset?
No, my parents are a little bit of a mixed bag. They are not very controlling parents.
Okay.
So if I wanted to do theater and photography, they would let me, but they would encourage me to do something a little bit more sustainable, and that's why I got into engineering, right? They were not like, oh, you cannot do this, you're not my son. They were more like, I prefer you not to, but if you want to do it, just go do you. And luckily, I think that's a type of parenting in itself, and it works for kids who are very self-driven and motivated, and that's the kind of kid I was. So that worked out in my favor.
What did they want you to do? Like obviously we all
what's
have
the
Asian
model?
parents.
What was the model career trajectory that they wanted you to follow?
The one thing that my dad kept bringing up was, you should get a government job. Super stable, have good benefits, you're not going to get fired.
I think
and
in
then,
Hong Kong it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Government jobs in Hong Kong are very well paid. Benefits are good, but I don't think that's a UCAN mindset. Because
No.
I mean, it's not to. By the way, it's not to say that government jobs are boring. It really depends person to person and what you stand for.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, your values. Yeah, but for UCAN, definitely, I think he is more like, he wants to take ownership. He wants to explore different creative ideas, make it happen.
Yeah.
Create a bigger impact. Government, you create a big impact. By the way, yeah. I mean,
You create a big impact?
I mean, depends what you want in life, right?
I think
government stuff are really important, right?
I
To
think
make
it is
sure
important, but
there's
you're
two
only
sides,
a
there's two
wheel.
sides.
You're only a wheel
Yep.
of like
You're part of the moving part, right?
But
Yeah.
you aren't actually making yourself is not making something. You're not producing something, even though you may be influencing some people. But then I think you impact more people, and you are actually in contact with more, like touches people on all walks of life basically.
Oh, thanks.
And more stakeholders basically.
I think it really just depends on what you're looking for in life.
Yeah.
I wanted something that I wanted to. So the question was, for me, was if I wasn't worried about money, if I didn't have to get paid, if I don't have to worry about anything, what would I be doing? I'd be doing filmmaking, and I'm doing that right now. So I think the question is, if you were to ignore money, if you don't have to worry about money today, what would you be doing? And are you doing that right now? Yeah.
That's a $1 billion. I would say million initially, but now that's $1 billion, or like a lifelong pursuit kind of question.
Yeah.
That I'm very happy for you, Eugene, that you actually found that answer really early on.
Yeah.
And I think we touched upon, right, in our pre-briefing that on this whole concept of ikigai or ikigai, however you want to call it. Basically, what you're good at, what you love doing, what can benefit people, or what the world needs, and what can get you paid for.
Yeah.
So I think that whole concept kind of flowed and work with you, right?
I think that came into my life really naturally.
Yeah.
And like if you search up, there's a lot of workshops teaching you how to incorporate that technique. And I think
Oh, you do teaching on workshops?
they have workshops on that.
Okay.
I've done
okay.
workshops on Ikigai, and it's very interesting because it actually sort of aligns with my life.
Let's talk about what's Ikigai first, because I think
Okay,
a lot of people might not know.
Yeah.
As
I think
including me.
I think probably Eugene would know. He went through courses, but for people that want to know what this Ikigai thing is, basically the meaning of life, finding that true purpose that can actually you being part of the whole human ecosystem. That's what I get from. But maybe Eugene, you have a different view or want to add on to it.
That's the main purpose of
Theme,
it,
right? Yeah.
of Ikigai. And the three aspects of Ikigai was to discover what you love doing, what you're good at, and how is it related to the overall social, the entire world, essentially, and how you can merge all three of these aspects in your life. Yeah.
So how did you come across Ikigai, like in the first place? Like we aren't selling this mindset. If it fits you, you can look into it. But we aren't asking.
Yeah, we're
you
interested because it was a big part of Eugene's
mindset growing up.
So back to our previous episode, I talked about listening to a podcast on entrepreneurship and for creatives, and the host Crystal from the future also did a workshop talking about Ikigai, and it interested me not because I needed it, because I think I found my calling, but because the people around me, I started to realize we're in 9-to-5 jobs, and that's fine, But a lot of people were complaining about it, and I just thought, if you don't like something in your life, change it. Why not? And then they're like, oh, I don't know what I like. And I came across Ikigai, and I'm just like, perfect, try it out. Maybe you'll find something. And that's how I found out. Yeah.
So how did it affect you? Like, did you, after you going to the course, did you find your purpose, or were you already found your purpose? You just improved on it.
I think I already found my purpose. Yeah. I took the course, the workshop, because I wanted to help people find their calling.
Okay.
So my friends and like family members who don't know what they want, because I found them, I want to know how I can recreate finding my passion for other people, and I wanted a systematic way of finding it. And Ikigai was sort of the one out there.
Yeah. It's a framework, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually stumbled upon this not via podcast, via YouTube.
Okay.
Because I follow different people on YouTube, and I think it was a concept that really hits me. But I think I haven't found my why, to be honest. I know what enjoys me, what excites me, but I haven't found my why.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm happy to hear that, in this whole thing, like I think for you, you already found that, but now you want to see how you can help people not go through that 9-to-5 job that they dislike, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be something that they can start thinking and reflect on. And what's even better is what Andren pointed out, right? A systematic, a framework. Because when there's a framework, right, it's just easier for people to think about. You can't just ask them, like, why? You can ask a bunch of whys, right? We discussed about it.
Yeah.
Why do you like your job? Why 9-to-5? Then they say, because it pays well. But why do you need to get paid? So you have to ask many whys, and not everyone can articulate and think very well.
Yeah.
But with a framework, I think that really helps them understand what their true passions are in life, and how they can contribute to this whole societal ecosystem, right?
Yeah, I just really want to help people who struggle with that, because they're frustrated and they shouldn't be. They're so young. A lot of our friends are mid-20s, and they have their whole lives ahead of them, right? So I really just want to let them know that now is the time to take risk. You're not married. A lot of them are not married yet, or they don't have kids, and they don't even have to pay rent yet. And now is the time to really explore. If you don't explore now, you're gonna explore when you're 50 and regret? That's not talking about regret, right? And a lot of people will say, oh, Eugene, you're just lucky you found your passion. You're so lucky you're doing your passion. Yes, I'm lucky that I found the passion. But pursuing it and making it into a career is a completely different thing. You can find it, and if you don't pursue it, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It goes nowhere. So yes, I'm lucky that I found it, but a lot of people, I feel like they know it at the back of their minds. They just don't take the action to do it. And I just really want to help them find it and monetize it to make it into a career. Because at the end of the day, like when you're like a grandparent, Do you want to tell your kids what you did like when in your mid-20s? 9 to 5. Oh, I worked office late nights. It's your life story. Is that all you want to tell?
Okay, that's very cool, very, very deep.
Yeah.
But I think my comment would be, probably you can share a bit on, I think Ikigai is a good framework, but from your perspective, how did you, I know it sort of came to you, right, based on the different subjects that you tried, and the different activities that you pick up. But for someone that, take for example myself, that haven't really identified that true passion, I know what I like. This I'm very clear. That's why I'm still generally quite happy with my life.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those that are listening out there, right, that is having that struggle, like what is actually their passion? What's the purpose of life, right? Because these are very big and deep topics.
Yeah.
And what's your advice on how it's behind the mind, but what's the approach to actually identify their passion?
Well, again, the question is, if you don't have to worry about money, what are you doing anyways? And is there something that you do every single day that you dedicate time to? Like, let's say I play the guitar every single day. Might not be good at it, but it's a passion. Or you work out, or something that you do on a daily basis. And if time flies, if you do something and time just flies, like you look out the window, it's like night now, then that's something that might be worth
like doing
exploring.
this podcast, right?
Exactly.
By the way,
just now Ray was talking
it's
about
night now, by the way. No,
Yeah,
it's lunchtime, but
it's 1:48. But then I think this also echoes to our mindset, is that if you enjoy doing something, time basically really flies. But then I think is, even though you may enjoy something, you might consider turning it into a career. I think it's good for you to seek advice, because just now Eugene said, oh, if you enjoy playing guitar, doesn't mean you're good at it. So I think you need to find something that ticks all the boxes. Like you enjoy doing something, you're good at doing something, or there might be things that you can explore into. If you're not good at guitar, maybe you already have the music sense. Maybe you can do like being a producer, or like being in a music industry as well.
But that's also another question, right? That's also whether or not you are born with talent, or can you be trained?
Yeah.
And I believe
it's a big topic. Yeah.
And I believe everyone can be trained too. I think some people are naturally gifted.
Yeah.
And say music, I'm very bad at rhythm, tempo, I'm terrible. But I believe like most of the skills out there, you can be trained to do almost everything as long as you're given the hours. I think there was a quote somewhere saying your first 10,000 hours. It's really,
it takes you to expert, right? After you do something for 10,000 hours straight, it becomes you become good at it naturally.
You're no longer a newbie.
Yep.
So I think if you put in the hours, no matter how bad you are, I mean, my first film was shit, right? But I didn't say, oh shit, I'm gonna stop. No, you keep going, and then you keep improving. Yeah.
I can relate, because people always say like, oh, working out and everything, but it just happens naturally if you put it part of your lifestyle, right? Fitness for me, I mean, I had big influence from my dad. He kind of instilled fitness, like, oh, we should do exercise consistently. So even when I go to university, I put in the hours, I got the body that I want. But hey, probably if I calculate how much time, probably more than 10,000 hours spent in the gym. And naturally, you become what you want to be.
Professional.
Yeah, exactly. So and if you ask me whether I'm talented in bodybuilding, no. It's just part of your lifestyle and putting the work ethic behind
It's dedication, right?
Yeah.
So now it's just like, oh, what else should I explore?
I'm already massive, so I need to find something else, right? Okay.
But I think you can definitely train towards it. But I think finding a passion and having a talent would help a lot.
Yeah.
So I think if you're not good at it, even though I think you definitely can.
You have some doubts, right?
Yeah. You always have some doubts, because I think for everyone, mindset is when you're insecure, you might need to invest a lot of time in training it. You might still be like insecure on starting your own career. Okay. So I think sometimes finding something that you're secure about is very important on the entrepreneur mindset, especially for me, because just now in the last episode we talked about starting a tutorial center, and I think for me I was insecure about it. That's why it hurts me. But then afterwards, I thought of it. It defines who I am. So I think it's a learning process for me as well.
I think insecurity is something that most entrepreneurs and creatives have to overcome.
Yeah.
So I think you assume that I'm not insecure about filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I had lots of things to be insecure about. For example, did you know I'm colorblind?
Ooh.
I'm colorblind.
There's a new juicy thing there.
I'm colorblind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Partial colorblind.
Partial
right?
color, yeah. So certain colors.
So how do you overcome it basically?
And so for colorblindness, yeah, I can't see certain colors. But if you learn the right skills in filmmaking, there's video scopes. So I can look at graphs that tell me certain colors.
Wow.
That
Right.
I know, okay, I've nailed this color, that this color is correct. So in some sense, my colors might be more accurate than yours because I know how to read the graphs. A lot of people might not know how to read the graphs.
Yeah.
Or if I don't want to use the graphs, it gives my filmmaking a new look that most people might not be able to achieve because I can't see that color.
It gives you a unique perspective. It might actually gives you an edge as well because I know this artist Yoi Kusama.
Okay.
You know which one?
No.
The one with like a lot of the dots.
Oh,
You see the artwork?
yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, I think she was colorblind as well, or she was like an artist. That's why she only does the dots.
Right.
And that's how she was like. That's her calling. She was an artist, and because she was colorblind, or I think she was having other illness as well. That's why that's her artwork. That's what defines her.
Yeah.
That's basically your artwork as well. That's your canvas.
So I think being insecure is... No, I think it's part of embracing yourself and embracing your insecurities because I'm colorblind. I never use colorblindness as an excuse. If anything, I think it makes my film kind of cool. Or if I want to be super accurate, I bring out a color chart here. I can do the graph. So red, green, blue, it's exactly the RGB, yellow, green colors that I need it to be. So it's as precise as can be. And I think it's really embracing your insecurity and working around it. There's no excuse in the world we live in today.
Yeah.
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 I'm yeah.
Pretty
I
much
mean,
absorbing it.
yeah, I mean, I'm sort of
Lots of
absorbing,
words.
sort of speechless. Not really lost for words. I just wanted to raise a point that I think we have Eugene, we have Andrew and myself. We're sharing different perspectives on our lives. Being insecure is perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, I was never confident. I mean, till up to date, still have some of my insecurities. I don't think I present that well. People think I present well. People think I'm sociable, but honestly, I'm a bit awkward, this and that. But I think my point is, right, the world that we're in, like our parents had to go through, was the number of jobs were limited. So they may not have the opportunity to pursue the real passion that they have. I'm lucky. I think my dad really found his true passion, which is being a doctor, helping saving life. I think it's very cliche, but he had to work for it, work his ass off for it. Yeah. But I think my point is, long story short, is to say like actually in today's world, the world's your oyster. Whether you're insecure about something, when you actually work towards it, there's actually a lot of different opportunities or new business models that you can explore with. Because you're not just bounded by the traditional 9 to 5, blue collar, white collar kind of jobs. Yeah. I'm actually wearing a blue collar, by the way.
Both of you.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think just keep your mind open out there, and hopefully, the advice that Eugene have mentioned, that just think that if you were to do something that you're not getting paid for, what would it be? I think that's a very simple question, but it takes time to digest, to really think about how would you want to spend your days if money was not an issue.
Yeah, I also just want to add on to that because I've actually did this the workshop with a few of my friends. I mean, I tried to host. But a lot of the answers were the number one answer to what would I be doing if I wasn't.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
The number one answer was traveling. But so as
it's a very cliche answer, right?
So-
Very millennial kind of answer. Yeah.
so we had to. I was trying to figure out, okay, why is everyone saying traveling? And then I realized it's because they've been trapped in their 9 to 5 jobs. They haven't had the opportunity to travel. It's not that they like traveling or they want to travel. It's because they've been trapped and confined and haven't had the opportunity to.
They've been deprived of that chance to travel.
Yeah. So it's like something that they don't get to do. It's not necessarily the thing that they would be doing if they don't have to worry about money. It's just something that they've been wanting to do. So that's something you have to really distinguish between something that you've been deprived of and something that's you would be doing. Yeah. Because if you like something, you're gonna do it. You know, even when even you have to work long hours sometimes. You work out. You find time to work out. Everyone has 24 hours, yeah? You find time for what you love.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think what we stumbled upon was that even you would make time to do things that you're passionate in, and if you're not good at it, train for it. Try it. I think is the also again the you can spirit, you can do it. Nothing is impossible if you try your ass off and just do whatever possible to do it and achieve what you want to do. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson we have learned from Eugene in this podcast is what we have in mind as well, to do our best and see how it goes. Because I think a lot of times is what we always mention is trial and error. We never know if it may be right. If it doesn't work out, there are opportunities elsewhere to do something similar. I think if Eugene didn't go well with like his own career in UCAN production, he might be a producer at TVB or something, right? Or like if a lot of people are
he actually explored that route. Yeah, I think
I got offered.
Yeah, Eugene explored that route.
So that's basically
we kind of discussed.
So let me echo back to my point was the reason why I said when you're insecure, maybe you can start up with something to learn the experience, because TVB or I know some people might not like TVB, but it's still
in Malaysia, maybe it's like Astro. In Singapore, it's a Media Corp. Yeah, this kind of production houses.
In Korea, it's like, I don't know, TVN or SBS, something like that. But I think it's to learn enough experience. Maybe it will improve on your training, improve on your security. Yeah. And it might gives you, like, help you realize that you are actually okay at it and gives you more confidence. So I think, but I want to like talk about a bit more about like TVB. Then why did you? Because I always wanted to.
Sorry. I wanna add on to one other point actually. So I think you talk about like trial and error.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things that I was telling my friends about was, as a young adult, you have to decide which one do you want more. Which one are you afraid of more? Are you afraid of failing more? Or are you afraid of regretting not knowing what something could have been?
Yeah.
Because two options, right? You either fail or you don't try it, but you regret because you don't know what it could have been. You know, if I never took up like filmmaking, what could have been UCAN Productions? Or would you rather fail? So it's which one are you more scared of? Are you scared to fail? Or are you scared to, or would you rather regret not knowing what your life could have been if you actually just tried? Which one's worse?
Which is something that echoes back again. I think I said a lot of echoes, by the way, anyways, because we talked about this with Sonia in the previous episodes, is that she was in bar. It was one of her like passions. She thinks that it was very interesting to her. It was a hobby, like it was a hobby for you for filmmaking, photography, and afterwards you develop into a career. She did develop into a career. So I think that is the commonality, is that you train bit by bit, learning bit by bit, and then you realize there's an opportunity. So just grab it and don't do something that you would regret. Because I would always ask myself, what if I didn't do a 9-to-5 job? I would ask myself that too. That's why I think podcast is a side hustle that I can do. It's not exactly a hustle, it's a side hobby.
Passion project, I would say. But it is still something outside of your 9-to-5 that you are consistently working on, developing on, and through the journey together.
And I think Eugene has a very good mindset. That's why I think, for a lot of people, they have a stable job. They don't want to risk it. But I think, like starting bit by bit, by learning, maybe one day it will be your calling. Like Ray is very into fitness. He actually, with Eugene, have their own video. Like
we started a
online course.
Workout gym program. Specifically targeting beginners that wants to have a comprehensive understanding of how to do different exercises. It's very light and easy. We filmed different shots for different parts of the body. So that will be launching 1st of March on Udemy.
Great plug.
And then you were talking about security, job security in the 9 to 5s. Actually, in the past year, I think a lot of people realize a 9 to 5 job is not necessarily secure. With COVID, Corona, and all that, lots of people got fired on the spot. My dad, who is a graphics designer, he got fired from 2-3 different jobs within that same year.
Wow.
Is that job security? No, it's not. Job security is financial freedom. And whether that is an annual income kind of thing or monthly, I wouldn't say that a 9 to 5 job is more secure. Because just like that, you're fired.
Yeah.
And even for other jobs like contract jobs, you're not sure if you'll get more contracts. So I think 9 to 5 financial security is a bit misunderstood.
Yeah.
I think more people, and I'm very happy that we have you to shed some light on this perspective that 9 to 5 is not an ultimate goal but it also depends on what you want in life, like what we say, whether it aligns with your values. But I also want to touch a bit on the point where you actually shared, is how you need to think about what you like doing, right?
Yeah.
I really like the workshop that you're doing. So I think it really helps people think about what they want. And the moment they said traveling, and then Andrew also elaborated on the point that, hey, because they're kind of refined and restricted, that it's something that they don't have, and that's why that's something that they want to do. So I just want to let everyone out there explore on this thought that, hey, actually thinking about what you like is actually a lifelong question. You consistently have to pivot every now and then. I used to want to be a singer, but I mean, I was pretty young back then. Just kind of influenced by media, etc. I thought that would be a cool life, etc. But I think it leads to the point that to really think about something that you really want to do and spend the rest of your life doing. Obviously, you can pivot, right? You really need to separate yourself with, what your surroundings are, what people think is a good thing. Yeah, I think that's what today, at least for millennials, right? It's very hard for us to separate what we truly like and what other people think is cool.
Yeah.
Traveling is so cool, and that's why I think it kind of leads to that point that, hey, they want to
Traveling gets you likes. You can post stories.
Yeah.
But I think traveling itself, it could be a career, but I think it's misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's glorified in some ways. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
And I think speaking about the people that you surround yourself with, it's important to surround yourself with people who you share your values with, like we talked about. Because if you surround yourself with people that doubt you, they're like, you can't do it. No, maybe like in 10 years. Let's do it next time. You're never gonna do it. You're never gonna do it. So if you hang around me, you'll know that I'm just like, let's do it. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it today. Come on, we can do it, man.
Yeah.
Is that how you start your videos?
I think, because I think Eugene is always exploring new things, and he's always finding people's passion, and he sort of dig that, hey, I'm passionate about fitness. Let's generate some sort of story that we can share out to people and create an impact, and at the same time explore if that could be some sort of recurring revenue.
Yeah.
So I think on 1st of March, I think we don't expect anything, to be honest. It's like a passion project, but yeah, we did it. And we're going to launch it 1st of March.
Woo!
Yeah.
I will leave a link in the description. Because I think this episode would be after 1st of March, even though we
Sponsored.
are...
It's actually sponsored by Gymnast. Yeah. Ucan Productions.
Yeah.
I think because I think two of them, I don't think I am, but they are people who are with like entrepreneurial, especially for Eugene, obviously, with entrepreneurial spirit. And I don't think we are encouraging everyone to start their own business, but it's to find their passion. It's to find what they enjoy. So even if you have a government job, we're not saying that your job is boring, but then your job could be routine. I think a lot of people have a routine job.
But some people would like that.
Yeah,
and it stands to their values. But I think government job opens up a lot of opportunity because your job is stable.
Yeah.
Like when Eugene mentioned a point that, in 2020, a lot of jobs have been lost. Government jobs, very unlikely that you lose
your job. Yeah.
That's the fact. And you don't get overtime. You don't have to work hard.
And that's a good point because if the government jobs and some 9 to 5 jobs have very fixed hours, so you don't have to overtime a lot. But because of that, you have time afterwards to do what
exactly.
you want, or you can do it afterwards.
And then the moment when you explore something and it becomes big enough to the point that, hey, you don't need your government job, and that's when you can. That's a very low what's it called? Very high risk to reward ratio, right?
Yeah.
We talk about this, and finally, I think it's the right time to share about this. That whenever you think about something, you need to always think, of course, timing, business partner, and really meeting the business surrounding, not business, the people that you surround yourself with is important. But you also have to think about the risk reward ratio.
Yeah.
Starting a podcast, it's your risk. At most, no one listens. That's fine. Andrew and I will still keep doing it.
You talk anyways.
Yeah, we'll talk anyways. Yeah, talk to people, etc.
Yeah.
But we see the upside potential as the number of people going through and transitioning from teenage life to adulting. We see that there is a big gap.
Yeah.
Especially local Hong Kong people, Malaysians, Singaporeans, or across the region. Yeah, a voice to actually shed some light and perspective to these people, right?
Yeah.
So that's essentially why we started this. We have Eugene right here, a big role model, Andrew himself too. Yeah, so hopefully it creates some sort of idea and get you guys thinking. That's essentially the main objective. I don't think we said this clear enough in episode 1, but that is actually why we started the Talk La podcast.
And I think it's slowly shaping by, I think the first episode is just me and Ray. The second episode was us and Sonia talking about career, relationship. Now with Eugene, we are slowly shaping each and every episode of ours to understand more about like our guests, obviously, but also to understand more about each other, because or even about our audience, because our audience gave us some feedback on who they are, what they want to listen on. And I think this is everyone's growing up their journey. So basically you guys are witnessing our journey growing up, and we are also, please follow UCAN Production and Eugene to know about his journey. Because I think like coming from a Hong Kong perspective, like a local perspective, staying here for like what 20, 25, 26 years, is I know a lot of people are bound by their 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah.
Are we just like gonna have it anyways? But you have a side hustle, or you might have a side passion, you can do it on the weekend. And I think it's something that everyone should have, a hobby. Even if you enjoy watching Netflix, hey, write some comments about Netflix or be a film critic, right? That's something that you can develop on. And I think finding your passion is basically this episode. We want to talk about how you can find your passion, how you can develop your passion, and how it may affect you as a person. So, but I think we're still young in a way that probably when we're in 50s, we would say that, oh, yeah, the podcast was like just a
it's trash,
or whatever.
just people talking. But yeah, I think just want to lead this up, like to summarize. I'm not any final points that you wanted to share, Eugene?
Yeah.
If not, like I'll lead it on to a final question. Like what's one big takeaway or one big advice to someone? I know you did give a one-liner, but if someone even after listening to that one question, they cannot relate, they don't know where to start. What's that one takeaway or advice that you would give them?
Okay. So to all the young listeners to the Talk Loud podcast, I think right now you're young, you've got time, you've got health, you're as healthy as you can be, you're in your prime. And I think now it's to really explore what you love doing. And if you don't love what you're doing, do something about it and be the change that you want to make. And really, your life is in your own hands. So be open to opportunities, try new things, and just because especially with like COVID and like all the health situation, you never know what life is going to end up. So live every single day happy, and never wake up and be like, oh shit, I hate my life. Love your life, because you should be grateful that you're healthy and young and in a privileged scenario.
All right. Thanks a lot, Eugene of UCAN Productions, for taking time to come. Let's do.
So that's basically a wrap on our second episode with Eugene. And again, I think there is a lot to take on from this episode. So hopefully you enjoy this episode with Eugene and you learn a lot. And we are on just now they were saying that there are too many podcasts. So basically, we know that you just listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So review us on either platform and hope you enjoy it. But if you have any comments for us, feel free to DM us or just give us some feedback. I know this episode is also 40 odd minutes, which is
Yeah, but
rather
hopefully
long.
there's like
Yep.
a lot of value to it.
Yeah, a lot of value. And then on our next episode, we'll invite another new guest to feature in the Talk Loud podcast. And if you want to suggest yourself again, feel free. And
I think before we end, if you found this useful, helpful, I think it will really, really help us out a lot to share it to your loved ones, the friends going through tough time. If you think this episode would resonate with someone going through this thought process, or if you found it helpful for yourself, share it, spread the word. We'll be forever grateful for you doing the deed, and hopefully we can create more impact together.
yeah. All right. Cheers.
All right, see you
All right.
guys.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.